Comes free to the near wing, below the circle, right side! They score! John Lazat, his second goal of the season against Minnesota State, and it's a big one for St. Cloud State.
It's going to be a dogfight along the North Shore as the Huskies skate into Bulldog country this weekend. Welcome into this edition of the Husky Hockey Weekend Preview. I'm your host, Kirsten Krull, and alongside me is St. Cloud Times reporter Mick Hatten. Mick, thanks for joining us today. Yeah, no problem at all. Now, first I want to touch base on the press conference that happened after the Minnesota State game on Hockey Day. Robbie Jackson kind of mentioned that you could say the team's in a slump right now. What have you seen on the ice that contributes to that idea?
Well, I think it's, a couple of things that are kind of popping out at you. One, he mentioned a lot of talk about the intensity level being not consistent enough throughout games. I mean, they're kind of showing it in spurts, but they're not doing it throughout the game. So, I mean, they need to be a little bit more consistent throughout games. Another thing that's kind of starting to bite them a little bit is they're getting behind in games early. They haven't lost a game yet. They're 8-0-3 when they score the first goal, but teams are getting ahead of them. And St. Cloud State's only 6-5 when the other team scores the first goal. So there's a couple of things. There's other areas, but I mean, those are a couple areas that they've been talking an awful lot about.
The last time the Huskies faced the Bulldogs was back in November, and they swept at home. What's changed within these two teams since then?
Well, you look at a couple of things. One thing that really pops out at you is the special teams. When St. Cloud State swept UMD earlier this season, they were 4 for 10 on the power play, 9 for 10 on the penalty kill. St. Cloud State has been struggling in both areas. They're only at 17.8% in the last 9 games. On the penalty kill, they're only at 77.4%. Here's the really striking thing with UMD right now. 45.2% in their last 8 games. They're 6-1-1 in those games on the power play. So special teams are going to be a big part of this series. Can St. Cloud State, be better on both ends of that? And can they slow UMD down on their power play?
And St. Cloud State won't face another non-conference opponent for the rest of this regular season. How important is this NCHC stretch as they head into the playoffs?
Well, it's vitally important. I mean, right now they're finding themselves in second place in the NCHC, which I don't think they've been maybe all season long. So if they want to, have that number 1 seed for the NCHC playoffs, they got to pick it up, and it's not going to be an easy road down the stretch here. They don't have a weekend off the rest of the way. They've got a lot of tough opponents, and this is one of the hottest teams in the country they're facing this weekend. It kind of starts this weekend.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mick. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. You can catch this game on NCHC TV, or you can listen live to 96.7 FM The River. That's going to do it for this week's Weekend Preview. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks for watching.